Hi. People sometimes ask me why I left Christianity. That's a very difficult question to answer because it's complicated. I've written several books about why somebody else ought not to be a Christian, but most of those books aren't about why I left Christianity. They're simply truths I realized after leaving. Recently, a friend asked, and I said that it would take a book to explain, which I've written. I told him that I had written the book and had considered making a series of videos and articles from it. He encouraged me to do that, said people would like it. So that's what I plan to do. It's a good time because my brain is distracted right now because I'm writing a book. And so it'll be nice to have material for articles and videos, already available. Funny thing is, even after writing and publishing my dissertation, from which this book evolved, even after publishing the book, I still didn't give up my faith. I didn't do that for about 6 months because it just didn't hit me that the whole story's fake. I can be quite dense sometimes. I can know a whole lot of details and not be able to put it together to form a conclusion. Sometimes I'm slow on the uptake. Anyway, the book, which is called We Are Emmanuel, How Man Became God, is an attempt to comprehend the best interpretation of the documents known as the Old and New Testaments. And today I'll share the abstract from the book along with the dedication because the dedication is important and I think interesting. First, the abstract. The goal is to analyze the Bible by principally discovering its sense, while also considering its source. The main purpose and clear focus is to determine the overall intention and rationale of the writers. To do that, I have chosen to spotlight mainly allegory rather than the origin of the text. To accomplish my goal, I have turned my attention to the 8 days of creation in an effort to understand exactly what the language signifies. These 8 days are, after all, the heart of the Bible and therefore should reveal its intended meaning. Genesis 1 speaks of 6 days of creation, but according to the narrative, the covenant Yahweh made with Abraham was signified by a ritual of circumcision performed on the 8th day. This day has significance, and it, along with all the other days, must be fulfilled somewhere within the pages of the Bible. The object of this study has been to consider all the days of creation and determine what happened on the final 3 days, 6 through 8. In an effort to understand the significance of the creation. The methods used have been the study of the Bible, including the meanings of Greek and Hebrew terms, perusing and gleaning wisdom from the writings of Bible scholars, discussing the issue with and receiving feedback from present-day Bible students, and listening to the voice within as to the understanding of various passages considered. Issues in consideration are as follows. The first 6 days of creation and how they relate to the final 2, the creation of Adam, with an explanation as to who he was in the beginning and who he became in the end, the flood and its significance, the story of Abraham, Moses and the law, the death, the end of the age, the resurrection, the 7th and 8th days, and the permanent union of man and Yahweh. I believe that a clear understanding of the biblical narrative has been comprehended through a thorough study of these subjects. The conclusion drawn from this study is that the story presented in the Bible is an allegory or parable depicting the union of Yahweh and humanity. Essence of the Genesis creation account, and indeed the entire Bible, is the building of a temple for Yahweh, which temple is humans. In the final analysis, Yahweh and humans are one being, making us part of the I Am. The tale itself is simply a means of presenting the concept. That's the abstract. I know it sounds kind of stilted. It's an abstract for a doctoral dissertation, after all. I don't think the rest of the book will be like this, and if it is, can't really remember. I'll try to tweak it to make it more interesting and less over-formal and pretentious sounding. Now, I dedicated the book to my son, Aaron. And I want to share that dedication because Aaron is why I chose the topic I did for my dissertation. By the way, when Aaron died, I was working on a master's degree in theology. Began my doctoral work in biblical studies after he died. Aaron was born in 1982 and died in 2012. His generous heart prompted a national movement that NBC's Curry Sanders called the Inspirational Power of Sharing, or TIPS, tips. You find out about this at aaroncollins.org. Aaron taught me to spend each moment fulfilling my heart's desire. And my dissertation and this book are a huge part of doing that. Not long after Aaron passed from this life, he spoke to me. I'm not saying I heard, a sound, but words came to me that I believe to be from him. He said, "I am always with you, Mom." I replied in my head, "Yes, I know, Aaron. You are and always will be in my heart." He said, "No, God is with you, right?" I responded, "Yes." Aaron said, "Well, I am." Now, at this point, I censored my son. I knew what I heard, but I could not accept the concept he was presenting to me. So I forced him to say, "Well, I am with God." I thought that made sense. If God was with me and Aaron was with God, then Aaron was with me. But that's not what Aaron said. He said something that was so foreign to my thinking that I had to shut it out at the time. The suggestion he provided would, I believed, never have occurred to me, and I was not ready to accept such a strange idea. What Aaron actually said was, "Well, I am God." Aaron's words kept playing in my head, and I determined to search through the Bible to see whether such an idea might be presented there. Does a person come from being God and return to being God? If the dust body returns to, or becomes dust once more, does the spirit return to become God once more as well? For some time, I had struggled with the notion of the eighth day of creation. I knew that it, along with the eighth day circumcision and seventh day rest, had to have been fulfilled in order for the law and prophets to pass. But how was that possible? And what did the fulfillment of these 2 days mean to people today? I had no idea that Aaron's words to me would send me on a search that would help me not only resolve questions I already had, but also provide answers I didn't even know I was looking for. What I discovered was not simply that we return to our source, but that here, in this life, we are part of the great I am. And at this point, I'd say whatever I am might be. And Christians, before you get all upset about this or find me to be blasphemous, think about this. You are supposedly the body of Jesus. That is, you make up Jesus or you are Jesus. And Jesus is Yahweh, right? Also, the Bible's clear that your God is in everything and everybody. Many who will hear this, what I'm saying, believe the words of a Jewish man, Saul of Tarsus, who said he saw a dead Jesus in a blinding light. But these same people will most likely refuse to believe that my son spoke to me. And I'm not saying he did. I'm saying it seemed to me that he did. But I'm psychotic, diagnosed. I freely admit that. You can decide for yourself whether my son actually spoke to me. But just don't pretend that you have a better reason to believe others when you read their stories that are far more incredible than mine. Seems to be easy for us to accept without question many bizarre tales from strangers long dead, with no proof at all, but difficult, if not impossible, to believe what our friends, whom we know to be honest, or those living in our time, tell us. I hope people understand that just as they have a right to interpret what I say in any way they choose, they have a right to do the same with the words of Saul of Tarsus. And the truth is, it doesn't matter whether my son spoke to me. What I have to say here will stand or fall on its own merits. If this has piqued your interest, come back next week on the same bat day, on the same bat channel. I hope you'll enjoy what I have to say. You may not agree with it. Most likely you won't. But I think you'll find it, at least some of it, to be nothing you've heard before. Thank you all. Bye.